बोलना ही ना।
धनंजय जी चालू करिए।
हाँ, चालू करो।
हम्म।
Yes, sir. I welcome all dignitaries and participants. I see a Dharmendra Vyas, Chairman Rajman Branch of CIRC of ICI. On behalf of the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee ICI, welcome all the participants in today's webcast on communication gains, power through refined skill for CAs. Now I will introduce all of you to our learned speaker, Sri Mohitji Gupta, sir. Mohitji Gupta, who is a fellow chartered accountant and LLB rank holder in a professional corporate trainer, motivational speaker, ex-qualified merchant navy officer, state level judo player, ब्रॉन्ज मेडलिस्ट हैं ये, फिल्म मेकर हैं, नॉवेलिस्ट, थिएटर डायरेक्टर, लाइफ कोच, मेडिटेशन एंड स्पिरिचुअल गुरु, बिजनेस कोच एंड सेल्स गुरु. वी आर वेरी डिलाइटेड टू हियर दिस कि आपने इतनी अच्छी अच्छी क्वालिफिकेशन और स्किल्स कर रखी है मोहित जी. After providing consultancy services in Ministry of Corporate Affairs and Indian Railway, he raised the raft to guide Indian youth and help them to achieve their life goals by delivering sessions on motivation, self-analysis, time management, and spiritual awakening. Mohit Gupta sir travels to the different cities for his sessions to guide the people from different background and different cultures. He believe and understand his social responsibilities for the society and contribute his time in this noble cause to motivate the future of India to rise them from the right direction. A big close to मोहित गुप्ता सर. इतना जबरदस्त क्वालिफिकेशन और स्किल्स आपने ले रखी हैं. अब हम आज आपके इस ज्ञान से परिचित होंगे. सो नाउ आई वुड लाइक टू मोहित जी फॉर डिलीवर हिज स्पीच.
Okay. So first of all, good morning, everyone. My introduction is also provided by, in a very good voice by Mr. Devendra Vyasji, right? So today we are gathering in this beautiful seminar with the high energy, the world's most powerful weapon. Right. See, why I'm saying this, right? This webinar is going on the topic of our communication, right? Why I'm calling this the world's most powerful weapon, right? As I proved this in next few seconds, a good communication, a very good communication, a very great communication is responsible between two fighting countries, two neighboring countries, and for their peace, for the friendly nature, right? And a very bad or great communication can lead to the next world war, right? So a great communication on the positive side can lead to the peace between the two neighboring countries, and a very bad but a great communication can lead to the third world war or the next world war, right? That's why I told this communication is the world's most powerful weapon. For another example, we all know about the very famous book like Mahabharat, very famous with like Mahabharat, right? There is a one phrase between the Draupadi and the king of Hastinapur, right? That is a Duryodhan, right? Once a Duryodhan went through the Indraprasth, right? And he just fell into the pond, and Draupadi just laughed at the Duryodhan, right? And she said, the son of a blind man is also a blind, right? So that is the small communication which put the seed into the land of the Kurukshetra and becomes a terrible war situation, which is known as the Mahabharata, right? So this is the power of your communication, right? A good communication can lead to the peace between the two countries, and a very great or but bad communication can lead to the next world war, to the third world war, right? So today we are gathering on this webinar to discuss about the communication, how this world's most powerful weapon can help us to improve our practice, to improve our professional skills, to improve our professional image, right? So that we will be able to achieve our life goals. So let us start. If talking about the world's most powerful communicator, or should I say the dictator, the Adolf Hitler, who is held responsible for the Second World War. He is look like a small man. He is look like just a common man, but the words he chose to influence his army, the words he chose to communicate between the people are very influential, right? And this power of the communication create his image so big that one word told by the Adolf Hitler is just like written on the marble slab, right? So nobody wants to overrule the Adolf Hitler, but everyone was just follower of the Adolf Hitler at that time, right? And that's why he becomes like the second or synonym or the another name like a Hitler, right? Adolf Hitler, right? The very cruel man, right? On the other side, if we are talking about a person who just by his words, just by his communication, uh, remove the whole fear from the countries, all people, like we are talking about the India, right? And make the slavery India and convert it into the independent India, like I'm talking about the one and only Mr. Mahatma Gandhi, right? So this is the power of communication, the word he chose to influence the people, the word he chose to influence his followers, and everyone just like gave him the surname like Mahatma, right? Mahatma Gandhi, right? So this is the power of the words. This is the power of the communication, right? Who was the Gandhi? He was just like a simple common man, a small height man, a very tiny man, but his personality, his aura was so great just because of the words he chose to communicate his message to the followers, right? So that is the power of communication. Now it's our turn to improve ourselves, to improve our communication, to improve our thought process, right? So that we are able to achieve our life goals, right? So to influence the other people. Like if I am talking about the communication, if I'm talking about our success, if I'm talking about our goal, we would all agree on the one term that everybody wants to be a successful man or the women on her or his life, right? Now, what is the meaning of success? Like it is very person to person, it change person to person, but there is one common thing in every definition of success defined by every individual, and that is that he or she wants to be on apex, right? Wants to be on so much height like for which they are dreamed for, right? If you are into the job, if you are into the practice, or if you are into your something own startup or the business industry, right? So you would like to go to the upstairs, to go to the apex level and want to see yourself as a corporate leader or as a business leader, business tycoon, or leader of any other industry, but the leader, right? So we can say that like success means having some page on the leadership, right? So what is the most important thing to be a leader, whether we are into the corporate leadership or whether we are into the public celebrity or whether into the politics, right? But there is one common thing between all leaders, among all leaders, and that is the communication, right? That is the communication. So communication is that weapon, is that tool which is high possibility to be sharpened each and every day, right? Each and every day, right? So before improving the communication, let us we understand first what is the meaning of communication. What is the meaning of communication, right? So I'm asking all of you, like, what is the meaning of communication, right? According to you, right? I'm asking by Mr. Dharmendra sir, by Mr. Admin sir, please take a look and please take a look inside and just answer this simple question. What is the communication according to you, sir?
Sir, according to me, communication is a transfer of one message to one person to another. Transmission of message from one person to another.
Okay, fine. I guess everybody would agree on that, right? So I'm just asking by one example. Disclaimer is this is just a fictional example, right? One day, my wife calling me and told me, when you came back to the home in the evening, please buy 2 kg of the potato. And after saying these things, she just hang up the call, right? So I'm just asking, is this a communication?
Yes, this is communication.
Okay, if you are considering this communication, okay, so I'll take another example, a very common example between all practicing chartered accountants. One senior boss, one senior FCA, right, called his secretary into the cabin and told her, please note down what I am saying and just leave my office and go and just type that. Is this a communication?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Verbal communication.
Is this okay? So you all are agree this is also communication. So my next question is, what is the dictation then? What is the meaning of dictatorship then? Now confused, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
right. So if you are on the position where you are a good speaker, where you are just a speaker, but you don't have any willingness to listening the other people, that is called the dictation, but not the communication.
Okay.
Right? On the other hand, you can also name these things like one-way communication, but this is not a communication at all. This is a dictation, right? When you are just speaking your phrase and you don't want to listen the somebody, you don't want to listen the next one. This is not the communication. This is the dictation, right?
Yes, sir.
So, first of all, we need to define the clear thing. What is the meaning of communication? Okay, now let me introduce this thing. Communication means, please listen carefully, everyone. This is so important thing. What is the meaning of communication? Communication means transfer the things that is going on into your head to the other one head. Transfer your thoughts to the one's mind, right? And communication is a medium to transfer your messages, to transfer your thoughts into the other one's mind, other one's brain. So our overall target is that our message, where should it reach? Should it reach to the other one's ear or should it reach to the other one's brain, other one's mind? Right? So this is the purpose of the communication. This is the purpose of the communication. Communication have a various types, right? You can send your message through the email. You can send your message by writing some letters. You can send by your message by just orally words, right? Or you can just use the simple languages, your sign languages, right? So all these are communication, but there is a one common purpose, and that is the transfer your thoughts, transfer your message from one brain to the other one's mind, right? So how it is possible if I'm not willing to listen the other people, whether they understand what I'm saying or not, right? So for completion of the communication, it is so necessary that I have to take a feedback. I have to take a suggestion. I have to take something responsiveness, something respond, right? Something respondness, right? Whether they understood correctly or not. But if I'm not willing to listen them, how they can told us like they are understanding that or not? Many of us who are regularly complaining that they don't have a so good team, they don't have so much of good people in their team, right? There is a one common thing which I observe personally from the station when they complain like they don't have the good team, they don't have the good people in their team, right? They don't have their good colleagues and subordinates or the followers, and the one common thing is that they are not the good listener. They don't have the willingness to listen them. That's why people lose interest what you are saying. They are just doing that thing which you are just talking every time by taking the favor of your position, right?
Correct.
That's why most of the team are not feeling so confident in their boss, in their leader. Right? So we have to understand this thing first, right? To start a good communication, we also have to listen, right? We also have to listen to our listeners. We also have to wait for them to respond, right? So communication can't be complete if I'm not taking the feedback, if I'm not taking the suggestion, if I'm not waiting for them to respond. Right? Okay. Now, that is the communication. Now let us move to the next part. Question. What is the purpose of this slide in this so energetic topic, communication? Question. Question refines yourself. Question you can use as a filter to the communication. See, there are two examples. I'm just asking you. There is a one example. The guy who used to say every word without filtering him, without rethink about the words he chose to say, right? And the second guy who start the communication by after just think about himself, think about the topic, and by asking the question by himself, that whether I'm into the position to ask this question, whether this is a good time to ask the question, to start the communication, whether I'm the right person, whether it is a good situation, whether the listener is into the situation to listen me. Right. So before starting the communication, before initiate the communication, you have to start the question from yourself first.
Correct.
From yourself first. For an example, you have some message to communicate to your subordinate, and on that day your subordinate was not present at your office. So what you will do next? You will just take up your phone and dial his number, his contact number. Right now the situation is you don't even know that why your colleague, why your subordinate is not present at that day, at that important day. Right? And you just starting your communication, you just starting to convey your message before knowing that whether the bad situation or the good situation he is into that day.
Correct.
Right? So before starting the communication, see, what is the purpose of our communication? The purpose of our communication to transfer our thought into the mind to the other ones, right? So that purpose will complete only when the timing is perfect, when the person is perfect, when the situation is perfect, and when the world is perfect. If any one of these things are missing, then communication will not going to be completed.
Correct.
Right. So before starting the communication, before starting the conversation, you have to question yourself. Right? Whether you are choosing the right word to communicate yourself, whether this is a good situation, whether this is a good time, whether he is the right person to communicate this message with. Okay. Now, as I told you, that listening is the most important part to the communication. If you don't have this good habit to listening, sorry, but you can't be a good leader because you can't be a good communicator. Right? For an example, if you are just have an ability to speak very well, but you don't have the ability to listen very well, then what will going to happen? If there is some program or if there is some debate going to be on the stage, you will start to ask the question repetitively because you don't have any attention on the topic, on the subject or the debate. So you have to listen properly. This is the most important thing. Please remember my words. If any time in your lifespan you have the chance to debate some political leader or some other person on the news media, you can win the debate only if you are speaking less and listen more. The audience like those speakers so much. This is the secret now I'm going to reveal. The audience like those speakers so much who are not speaking so much. Right? So you have to listen first. You have to listen properly before starting your communication, before starting the transferring of your thoughts. Right? So that is the secret to listening, active listening, right? Now, here on the screen, you can see a man, Mr. Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Most of us are praising him for the work he's doing right now. But most of the us are also make some mockery of him or don't like or don't accept the words whatever he's going to say or he's choose to say, right? But that is our personal opinion. It's fine. What is the reason behind the reference of Raga here? Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who is a very less understood people among the audience, among the listeners. People start mocking him. People start making the fun of him. Why? Why? Because people don't accept whatever he's trying to say. Sometimes might be because he's from the another experience, he's from the another background. So that's why sometimes he fumble the words, sometimes he choose the wrong example. But the impact of those sentences are so big that hamper the image of such political person so badly. Right? So, and on the other hand, we see an example of the person who is the representative of the world's largest democratic country, that is India, Mr. Narendra Damodar Das Bhai Modi. He is so confident about what he is going to say. He is so confident about what he is going to act publicly, right? So this is so well act like he is so confident to hold the hand of the world's largest super powerful country's president. I don't remember that before he was doing that, before he was doing like just holding the hand and just clap on that hand. Before him, I don't remember that any president of any country was there to do that, something like that. In the front of the huge media, in the front of the international media. I don't remember that such incident before this incident. This is the level of the confidence. This is the level of the confidence. This is the act. This is the act when we don't know whether he's so good in the management or not, but he is so good in the public speaking. He is so good in expressing his words, in expressing his thoughts. He is so detailed about the tiny things while present on the stage. If his subordinates was just fumble, if his subordinates was just forget to drag the mic towards the mouth, he will just stand after the chair and just correct that mic for the lady who was a bit shorter for the mic. I hope you remember that incident too. Right. So his listening abilities are so very well. Right. So after the political agenda, after the political things or the slides, we are just discussing the communication. Right. So now it's our turn that how we can make our communication so effective. There are 7 C's formula, right? You can just take the screenshot or just click the photo of this slide, right? 7 C's of the effective communication. The first one, completeness. What is the meaning of completeness? It provides all necessary information for the clear understanding and the informed decision. What happens if I just go someplace or just communicate with my friend, but didn't complete the subject, but didn't complete the topic on which I am going to start the communication? For an example, disclaimer, it is just a fictional example, right? Once in a while, I was in the childhood, I was moved to the showroom of the Mercedes-Benz with my friend. And in front of us, when we entered the showroom, and in front of us, there is a red color Mercedes, right, on the stage. And it is shown by a lady, by a sales girl. So I choose the word to initiate the communication with my friend. One day I will buy this. One day I will buy this car. Sorry, I was not mentioning the car, but I was saying, one day I will take this out from the showroom to my home. And he was just look at me and staring at me. What are you saying? It is not legally allowed that you are hold someone's hand and according to your wish you just take her out with yourself. So I was just saying, like, I'm not talking about the girl who is showing that car. I'm talking about the car only. That I will take that out from the showroom with myself to my home. Right? So why this blender mistake happened? Because I was not complete the message at that time. I was not complete the subject at that time. And I was just thinking like my friend has a good understanding with me and he will totally understand and agree with me like whatever I'm going to say. And due to this blender mistake happened in that showroom. Again, disclaimer, this is just a fictional example, right? But most of us are dealing with some situation like that in our daily life. When we are just thinking that our listener or the person who is into the communication with us is totally understandable about the topic which we are going to say.
Correct.
Most of the time it happens, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes they missed the topic, sometimes they missed the subject on which we are going to communicate. Right? So as a speaker, as a good speaker, as a communicator, as a good communicator, it is our responsibility to complete the topic, to complete the subject of our communication.
Correct.
Right? So we have to note it down somewhere in our mind that we don't ever try to understand this like my listener, my partner will totally understand what I'm saying without even giving the complete knowledge of the subject. Right? Don't think that. Don't think like that. Right? Might be he will understand what I'm going to say on the topic, but it's his ability, it's his skill. So I cannot rely completely on his skill, whether he is able to understand the topic which we are not mentioning all the time, right? So we can't rely on that because it might be hamper, like whether he is into the different situation, into the different time zone, right? So it is our responsibility to complete our subject which we are going to communicate.
Correct.
Yes. Okay, so let's move to the next C, right? For the effective communication. C, what is the name of this slide? 7 C's for the effective communication, right? Like it is an advanced thing. If I'm just clarifying me again. I'm not here to teach you that how to talk. There is a difference between the talk and the communication. There is a difference. What is the difference between generally talk and the communication? Whatever comes into your mind without filtration, you just spoke out the words from your mouth, that is just a talking.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
When I use the filters, when I question myself before starting the communication, when I thinking so much, when I thinking so highly intellectual level, right? So that is the communication. There might be no purpose behind the talking. Please remember these words. There might be no purpose behind the talking.
Correct.
But there is definitely a purpose behind the communication. Right? So communication is used for the very influenced things. Communication is used for very intellectual thing. Right? So it is not the everyone's cup of tea to start the good communication. That's why everyone is not a good communicator, and that is why everyone is not a good leader. Right? So it is thought process, it is our vision whether we are going to be a good communicator and a leader, or whether we are just a normal follower. Right? Okay. Now let's come to our next T, that is the clearness.
Clearness.
Right? As a good speaker, as a good communicator, it is again my responsibility because I want to see myself as a good leader, which might be our definition of the success. So it is my responsibility to be a good communicator, to clear the message. Right? If I am just starting the conversation, but I'm not thinking about the clarity of the message. I'm not thinking about the clarity of the message. I'm not thinking about the noise behind my communication. I'm not thinking about the overcrowded people surrounded towards us. Right? So message can't be conveyed to the next person so clearly. Whether his intention or her intention are so much good, they want to listen us. But if there is something kind of noise or something kind of the confusion, right? There is no clarity, then communication will destroy. So it is my responsibility, it will be our responsibility to clear our message. Right? We have to ensure that our message should be easily understood in the language or in the way in which our listener are more comfortable to listen us. Right?
Right.
So I'm just taking another example. On the globe, there is one place which is situated in India only, near to the Andaman and Nicobar, right, where the people live. Like I'm saying that they thought they are related to the Stone Age, right? In Hindi, I can say they thought they are like Adi Manav, right? So sometime before, a US tourist, I guess, right? So he bribed some tourist guide, or he was just landed to the Andaman Nicobar at that restricted zone, right? And just to film a documentary on the life of them, right? On the people who lived at that place. After few days, when the tourists didn't came back to the India, right? Search operation was going on, and when they landed, when the police were just watch through the helicopters and all over the island, they noticed that the head was just used as a football among those guys, right? Among those guys, it happened. It happened. This mishappening was happened just because that tourist was not that tourist was not clear about the communication. He was just overconfident about his way and just landed into that restricted zone and just died brutally by their hand. Right? So why it all happens? Because he didn't understand the one thing, that he should be clear. He should be clear about his approach. He should be clear about his communication. Right? If you are not clear, if you are not good in communication, right? So your good thing might be turned into the bad thing.
Correct.
Right? So that is another thing. Now let's do the next thing, that is the courtesy. You have to show the respect, politeness, and the professionalism in the interaction with others. Right? If you have a chance to into the conversation with someone, whether, like an example, if you are on the political side, if you are a follower of the Narendra Modi, if you are the follower of the BJP, but incidentally you are having a chance to fall into the conversation with the Mr. Rahul Gandhi or Miss Priyanka Vadra, right? So what it should be, what it should be like in communication. Are you willing to showing the disrespect because they are not ideally with your thinking, or you have to show the respect because somewhere is also a political leader, or she is a political leader, right? So it doesn't matter whether you are into the communication, whether you are into the debate, whether into your conversation with the person who just opposite to your thinking process, right? It is your responsibility whether you are communicating with your enemy or whether you are communicating with someone who is not totally agree with your thought process. You still you have to showing the respect. You have to show the respect and politeness and the professionalism.
Correct.
Right? So if you have found someone on the other side of the communication, it is doesn't necessary to give you the license to show the disrespect towards them, right? You have to still follow the courtesy. You have to still respect them, right? And complete the debate with full of your soul. Right. I just scroll one time the one reel and I found the guy. I don't know. Might be you heard about him, the Mr. Carrie Minati. Carrie Minati is one of the most famous YouTuber in today's era among the youth, right? And he is approximately, if I'm not wrong, more than 3 crores subscribers. So he has more than 3 crores, or I guess 4 crores around followers on the social media, or might be more than that. But I visited his page, and when I listening some of the reels or the shorts or the videos he used to make for his livelihood, and I noticed one thing. He chose the one thing that is so much of the disrespect towards the listeners, and he called himself as a critic. He shows like as a very great critic, but he chose to speak about the topic and contain the abusive language and totally unprofessional. Totally unprofessional. Right. So that might be the political, that might be the political stunt, like, right, to be a famous celebrity on the YouTube. But that is not the good thing. That is not the courtesy. Right. So please maintain your courtesy. Please maintain your respect level. Please maintain your politeness and professionalism while interact with others. While interact with others. Right. On the other side, when we go to the next P for the effective communication, that is the correctness. When I was into the conversation with a guy who was belonged to the Bihar, we both were in the Shatabdi, right? So the person who was sitting to my next seat, that person belongs to the Maharashtra, right? So the guy who was from Bihar was trying to speak in the language of the Marathi with the Maharashtrian guy. And after the few seconds, the conversation between both of them so heated up. And the guy who was from the Maharashtra was not so impressed with the guy from the Bihar. And the reason was, when I asked a bit later from the Maharashtrian guy that what is the reason behind the argument between both of you guys. So Maharashtrian guy was told me that he is not happy with the language the Bihar men choose to speak with him. And then I was asking him like, what was that thing? What disturbs him? So he says that like the man who was from Bihar choose the words in Marathi, choose the word in Marathi, but not the right word, right? So what is the point in that? Sometimes, many of us, some of us trying to impress the people from the other culture, trying to impress the people who are from the different background and trying to just copy the culture, copy the language they are speaking in, right? And without any proper preparation about that language and culture, we are just fall into ourselves into the trap, right? If you are not so much confident, if you are not having so much confidence in your language command in which you are going to start your communication just to impress the other guy and try to start your conversation in the regional language of that other guy, if you are not confident about that regional language, then don't try to be a over smart man, right? Otherwise, it might be into the nightmare. It might turn into the nightmare, right? Because everyone on this globe has somewhere the respect towards their regional language or their culture. So if you are not well prepared about the culture, about the language, then don't try to impress them with your faulty language or your faulty understand of their culture. Otherwise, your relationship might be turned into the nightmare, and your attempt to just praise him or just make your image so good that you also have the knowledge of the language and the culture of his state will be false, will be incorrect, right? So don't try to be yourself in the hustle by attempting these fall things, right? If you are confident, like another example, one of my friend was in some kind of MNC in the Bangalore, and he was just trying to speak in South languages with that local guy. After some time, when I having the conversation with my friend, he chose to say me like the people around him are not so friendly with him because they think that I'm creating some kind of the mockery or making the fun of their language, right? So So this we have to something gain in our mind that we don't need to put ourselves into the hustle by just doing these false attempts, right? So this is a fourth C, that is a correctness, okay, right? And we have to ensure our accuracy in the grammar, spelling, punctuation, and the factual information that we are presented. Right? So we have to keep it in our mind. The next thing, that is the concreteness. What is the concreteness, right? See, every morning we observe that unwanted things came into our WhatsApp inbox. Many WhatsApp groups, which might be created by our in-laws, which might be created by our grandfather or the father. And every morning we saw some kind of the jokes, we saw some kind of the greeting messages, good morning, good night messages, created by some kind of the forward. And sometimes we saw some messages which are not so inventive, not so correct, which are not so correct. And many of us are just ignore those things, but some of us just simply forward those false things into the other groups or the other person inboxes. Right? So we have to think before the forward such false messages, right, towards the other. We have to check the facts, we have to check the information whether it is correct or not. If you just simply forwarded the message before checking the actual truth, before checking the actual facts, then you can think what image you are going to portray towards your receiver, towards your listener, right? So before forwarding the messages, some kind of information, it is your responsibility, because after sending the messages, it is your responsibility that you have to check the facts, that you have to check the truth, that you have to check the actual thing. Right? So just for the sake of your image, just for the sake of your public image, you don't have to simply forward such kind of the messages, right? That is the concreteness, right? After that, let's come to the conciseness, right? Convey the message with gravity, without unnecessary detail or the information. Many of us wants to put out the words regularly without any related knowledge or without any related facts. We just want to speak every time. We just want to speak every time. I guess it is because we are not able to speak properly in front of our wives or our spouses. So we just wish to convey our messages to the other person, right? We don't even check whether it is related to that guy, whether it is so relevant, whether it is so knowledgeable, right? So don't do that. Don't do that, right? People having no so much time in today's era, they don't want to devote so much time in one thing, right? So you have to end your communication, you have to end your conversation as soon as possible after completion of your message. That gives the time to the other people to communicate with you also. Right? So don't just try to grab the time of the other one, to eat the time of the other one, right? So convey the message with a shorter detail. Try to choose one word for the long sentences. Try to choose a shorter word for the long sentences. Don't just consume other one's time, because the time is so precious for everyone in their knowledge, in their selves. Right? So that is another secret which I'm going to share with you. Listeners, don't entertain those speakers who just throw the words without having any gravity of the ground, without having any knowledge or relevance to the topic. Right? People don't like such kind of the speaker. Right? Okay. Now let's move to the next P. That is the last P for the 7 C's of the effective communication, and that is the consideration. That is a consideration. See, if you are on the path of your jogging track and some person who is the age of the 80s or 90s just hold your hand and starting the conversation with you, which is not so relevant to you, and you are just thinking that why this man eat my time, why this man consume my so precious time, I have to leave for my office, I have to leave for my meeting. How would you feel? You will definitely feel that those useless things are going to happen with you. Might be your and his relation in the going to the hustle, right? So you also consider yourself as a good speaker, and you have to understand this thing. If your listener have no interest in your subject, if your listener has no interest in your communication, then don't start such communication with such guy, right? Because there is no purpose behind such communication, because that is not the correct listener, because that is not the correct responsiveness person, right? So you have to understand this thing first, that whether my listener going to achieve something by this communication or not, right? So you have to understand the audience need, delivering messages for the empathy and the relevance, right? Okay, so now let us move to the next slide. Okay, the person in the slide don't need any kind of the introduction, Mr. Ratan Tata, right? Now let us move. Towards our next topic, that is the team building, right? If we are talking the person who is so lovable among the employees, who is so favorite for the employees, there is no name for the Adani, there is no single outing for the Ambani's, or the industrialist or the businessman, but there is a one guy who is a favorite of the all time for all employees, that is Mr. Ratan Tata. Mr. Ratan Tata unfortunately is not now exist on this earth, but his memory, his act, his kindness are still with us, are still with the youth of the 2025. Right? Why? Mr. Ratan Tata was a person who is very well in the communication. If he get to know that there is some kind of the birthday celebration of the employee going to be happen in our office, then he would like to definitely attend that birthday celebration. Your small acts, your small kindness, your small way of communication. See, your act are also the part of your communication. It doesn't mean that you have to always speak all the time to convey your message, to convey your thought. Sometimes your thought, your things convey just by your act. Just by your act. See, for an example, if you are attending the birthday celebration or some kind of the marriage anniversary celebration of your employee in your firm or in your company, right? So that small act, just by your attendance there, just a small act, this small act will create a good image in your team. Will create a very good brand image amongst, will create a very good confidence among your team. Right? So communication doesn't necessarily to always carry some words all the time. It might be also your actions, your small acts, your small kindness. Right. Now let us work on the next slide, that is the team building. See, in 2025, there is an era when you have to think about your team skills training. Right? Many of the MNCs and many of the PSUs are devote their time and devote their money through the CSR, right, on the skills training for their employees. Right? There was a one guy who was just going to resign from the one MNC, right? And when he was going to resign from the MNC, the manager was asked that what is the reason behind your resignation. So the guy was told like everything is fine, I'm also getting the money, but there is one thing, I'm not grooming personally here because I don't have the time. I want to scale up myself. I want to join some kind of the corporate which spend some money or the time on my skills upgradation. Right? He was talking about the artificial intelligence. So the manager was having the thought, like, see, if we are going to plan you in the Germany for the next 3 years for upgradation of your skills training, right? Of your skills in the artificial intelligence, then you have to sign the contract with our company for the next 3 years after the completion of the training. What is the thought going on in the manager's mind? He was having the thought like, if this good person, if this good employee left my company right now, I have to hire someone else who is new to me, who is new for the company, who is the fresher for the company. So I have to again devote my time for the skill upgradation on that employee. So what if we upgrade the skill of this man only in the artificial intelligence in which he is talking about, and he is going also to sign the contract with the company for another 3 years or 6 years might be, right? And for the next few years, when he work again with our MNC or our company, his upgraded skill will useful for our corporate only. Right. So this is not the expense. This is just an investment. Right. So we have, for a great team building, see, we want to see our umpire on the apex. We want to see the Burj Khalifa kind of the building of our dream. But sometimes we forgot, if I have so much of the good knowledge, but without a great team, I can't build my empire. I can't build my Burj Khalifa of my dream. If I have so much skills, if I have so much time, if I have so much of the money, on the single-handed, I can't make it by my own. I need a great team. I need a great people team. Right? So one thing that is a learning in this slide, that without a great team, it is a very long path and very time consuming to accomplish our life goal, to accomplish our goal. Right? So if we want to accomplish our goal, to accomplish our life goal, we have to create a good people team. And the good team cannot be created but just by hiring them or giving them some money. We have also need to spend some time and money on their skills upgradation, right? On the skills upgradation. Relevant to this topic, I'm going to speak about our next topic, that is the artificial intelligence. That is the artificial intelligence, the most hot topic in today's era. many of the CAs, many of the other person who are into the job are very scared about this topic, that what is artificial intelligence, how it will going to impact our personal life and professional life, right? So as a trainer, I would like to say that artificial intelligence is like where the experience and the knowledge of the individual are going to sum up into the chip or the memory of some kind of the robot or some kind of the robotic tool, which can be used as a software in our gadgets or our PCs and laptops, etc. Right? So that is the artificial intelligence as it is mentioned by its name only. Right? If I am talking about Mr. Elon Musk, he was saying that AI is far more dangerous than the nuclears, right? If it is going to be happen in some kind of the bad man or something like that, right? Artificial intelligence is far more dangerous than the nukes, than the nuclears, right? What impact of the artificial intelligence? Like before talking about the opportunity and all, let us discuss about the threat on the jobs of the individuals after introducing of the artificial intelligence. So I just take an example of this slide, right? There are the four areas, right? Four areas, like the area in the green is a high potential for the automation. Like it has a high risk for the replacement of the jobs by the AI, we can say, like in the area of the green, right? In the yellow, it is a high potential for the augmentation, right? So the yellow portion, it might be in the future that AI can grab the job for the individual. And in the red, it is a low potential. For right now, it has a low potential because the technology for the AI is not so well developed right now for these areas. So it might be the low potential for the red signals. And for the gray, like if we are talking about some kind of the labor, ground labor, right? The waiter and the person who is the cleaner, the person who is making the road, right? Clerk, right? So job of these guys are right now can be said like these are untouched by the AI, right? So if we are talking about the sectors, like if we are talking about the banking sector first, so more than 40% jobs can be replaced by the AI. Like the functions in the banking sector, more than 40% functions in the banking sector can be replaced by the AI, right? Or we can say like almost more than the 60%, right, in the banking sector are on the risk. If we are talking about the insurance, somewhere it is related also on the banking. So again, around 60%, it is on the high risk. And if we are talking about the software and platform, it is more than 50%, which is on the high risk after introduction of the AI. In capital market, again, approximately 50%. In energy sector, again, 50%. And in communication and media, in between of the 40 to 50, and retail near about 40%, and in health around 40%, right? So these are the area which can be affected by the artificial intelligence, and that's why most of the person who are into the job of these industries or the industries like these, right, are into the so stressed and so hustle, like what will going to happen after the introduction of AI into their job folio, right? So what can we do at our own? What can we do on our side to cope up with the artificial intelligence? So first, we have to understand these things as much as possible, right? As much as possible, we have to understand this thing. We have to cope up with the technology, right? Technology is your enemy only if you are not comfortable to join hands with them, right? So as per the modern era, right, time running is very fast and technology is going to be advanced every day, right? So there is one option only, that you don't have to counter the lion, you don't have to counter the elephant, but you have to ride that lion, but you have to ride on the back of that elephant, right? So you don't have to be in the front of that elephant which is running so fast, you don't have to be in the front of that lion which is running so fast, but you have to ride on that, right? So that is the only option. On the side of the employer, as an employer, what is our responsibility? It is time to rethink for us now. It is time to rethink for us now, right? What we have to do that, what we have to do for that, right? As an employer, we have to cope up our team with the new skill upgradation. We have to cope up our team with the new skills upgradation, right? We have to understand the situation of our employee, right? And we have to work for the skill upgradation of our employee, right? If we are talking about the today's era is like on the online media, on the digital media, every service sector, every product sector, whether into the retail or the wholesale or the manufacturing or the service sector, whether into the doctor, whether into the legal, whether into the CA practice or the engineers, it is the time to rethink, right? It is the time to redefine all these things. Today's era, everybody are so busy, everybody has no time for things, whether they have to go into the market or whether they have to attend the office, right? Everybody wants to just open the laptop and the whole world comes into that, right? So that is the time when the digital media comes into the role, right? How we can cope up ourselves and our team with the digital media and the online marketing, right? If we are just talking about the Amazon, right? Jeff Bezos, the founder and the CEO of the Amazon, right? Or if we are just talking about the Flipkart, I observed that few months back there was a Diwali, right? There was a Diwali, so there was a big billion sale on the Diwali Dhamaka kind of the hoardings running by the Amazon and the Flipkart, right? And that sale time period was like about 1 week, 7 to 10 days, right? And after that 10 days, Flipkart and Amazon's reveals their data about their sales figure, and it is in the billions and trillions, right? In 10 days time period, Flipkart dealing with the orders done by the consumers by the number of in billions, right? More than 100 or 200 crores or might be more than that in just 10 days time span. In just 10 days time span, right? So we observe that like it is the power of the social media, it is the power of the digital marketing, it is the power of the online social presence that one business in just 10 days only gain the profit of the billions and millions. It is the power of the social media, right? So what is all these things, right? I just give these examples just because for the understanding of the thought, just for the understanding of the topic that we have to change, we have to adapt the new change with the time zone, right? If I'm just using the typewriter to just preparing my newspaper agency, right? To just prepare the newspaper in my newspaper agency, I just use the typewriter, then certainly it will be shut down in nearby because I was not updated. I was outdated, right? So that is a demand of the time. That is a demand of the time, right? So we just don't have to update ourselves only. We also have to update our employees, our team also, right? So that is also the good step to be a good corporate leader if we want to be, right? So we have to update ourselves with our team, right? And one of that thing that we have to shift slightly on the digital media, on the social media, on the digital market. If one of us or many of us or some of us, I don't know, are not so much aware, are not so much dealing with the digital media, are not so much dealing with the social media, right? Then it is not so good thing in today's era, I must say, right? So we have to understand the power of the social media right now. You must be heard about him, Mr. C.A. Aman Gupta, the co-founder of Boat, right? So in one of the interview, he was also saying that the strategy he used to influence the today's youth is social media, is the digital market, right? Among the very of the gadget companies, Boat is one of the most lovable company among the youth for their gadgets, right? So what is the reason behind this huge success in a short period of time? That is the power of the social media. That is the power of the social media, right? That is the power of the digital marketing, right? Somebody told in one place a very good thing. If you want to be rich, then you have to just set up a thing which will work on your behalf, even you are not working at that time, even you are sleeping at that time, right? So somebody told me, right, that you have to create some kind of technology, some kind of thing, even you are not working at that time, that technology will work on your behalf, right? So what is the digital marketing? That is the platform who doing that thing, right? Even you are not working, if you are on the offline business hours, if you are not participating in that business at that time moment, right? But the technology will continuously work for you. If you are sleeping at 12 o'clock in the night, but somewhere in the world will still looking for the service or the product you are delivering or you are dealing in. All right. So that is the power of the social media. We certainly have to deal with these things, right? Another example in this chain, right, is Mr. the co-founder of the Shadi.com, founder of the Shadi.com, right? He was also on the same page with the Mr. C. Aman Gupta, right? See, the founder of the Mama Earth, right? She is also saying that the reason for the success of her dream is the power of the social media, is the digital media, right? So all these guys are in a very short span of the time. We just saw them on the TV serial like Shark Tank, right? But they are in a very short time period, they achieve that huge growth for which we are dreamt for, right? And one of the reason behind their success is the digital marketing, the social media, their public image, right? In the last of the session, I will also describe that how we can use the digital marketing for our CA industry, right? I will also definitely share that thing, right? You must see that guy in some cringe videos in YouTube's, right? This person, Dolly Chaiwala, right? He's so famous among the YouTubers. He's so famous among the youth, right? The person just simply stand by some illegal encroachment nearby some bus stand or just preparing the tea for the locals, right? But the style he attained in his body language, right? He just went viral on the social media, and just in few months, he just attracted the Mr. Sorry, I forgot his name. World's richest man, right? Bill Gates. Yes, Bill Gates. Right? He just attracted the Bill Gates and just famous all over the night. Now Mr. Dolly Chaiwala openly sell the franchisee for his name like Dolly Chaiwala. You must be heard about that. What is the reason behind this common man? Social media. Power of the social media. That is the power of the social media. One viral reel, and you might be get hired by some musician for your next upcoming assignment or song, like Himesh Reshammiya. You must be heard about that lady. I forget the name of that lady who was getting the chance to work with the Himesh Reshammiya, right? Just by the one reel which is viral on the social media. That is the power of the social media, right? So, like, see, another example, MBA Chaiwala, you must be heard about that. A guy who just even didn't complete his MBA, but he told that he was just famous by the name of the MBA Chaiwala. His reels were also viral on the social media, and now he's just selling the outlets and franchisee for the name of the MBA Chaiwala. Right? Many of them are in the chain, like Physics Wala and all, right? That is the importance of the importance of the website and expanding and growing your business over the social media. That is the power, right? How we can use that, right? I'll definitely do that, right? So first of all, just talk about the benefits of the digital marketing, right? We have to target the right audience, right? We have to target the right audience, right? And it is the cost-effective thing. It is the most cost-effective thing, right? On social media, like where on the offline market, if you are just distribute your brochures, if you are just put your expenses on the hoardings, right? On the other hand, if you are just dealing with the social media or the digital marketing on a very, very low cost, you can running your ads, right? You can running your ads, right? Being a CA, it is not allowed by the CA to advertise for his CA practice and all, but there are two methods on which I say talk about, right? One is push method and second one is pull method, right? So on digital media, if we are talking about, so we have to work on the pull method digital marketing methods, right? Where one client going to search for our services, for the services which we are rendered in our CA practice, then our name should be present over the website on the Google, right? So let me ask you, right? As I see that there is only few of the participants and Mr. Dharmendra ji is so active right now, right? So let me ask Dharmendra ji, after the introduction of artificial intelligence, how can you forecast the CA practice? Like a bad impact or the good impact? I guess your mic is mute, sir.
Yes, sir. अब आवाज आई?
Yes, sir.
Sir, AI will definitely help to chartered accountant in practice while representing and appeal filing और ये सब documentation create करने में AI will definitely help. ऐसा मेरा मानना है.
Okay. You are saying about the help of the AI in the regular practice work, right?
Yes,
For
sir.
return filing, for the accountancy preparation and all.
जी, sir.
If I'm talking about the client increment or if the practice growth, right? How will you see the AI? How can AI will help you? How can AI will help you in growth of your CA practice in turnover wise?
Okay.
तो वो उसमें कैसे हेल्प करेगा सर टर्नओवर इंक्रीज करने में AI?
Business बढ़ाने में क्या help करेगा?
My suggestions.
हाँ.
So,
हाँ.
thing I will say, after the introduction of AI, right? Many of the person who are right now in the job, like if I'm talking about the person who are into the animations, right? Those jobs are on the stakes. If you are preparing some cartoons and some sketches in 20-25 days, right? AI will do the same work in few seconds, right? So the person who are preparing the cartoons and the sketches or some kind of the animation will definitely going to lose the job at the first moment, right? Or like we see in our previous slides, right? Like this, right? So the person who fall into the green area, whose jobs are on the high stakes after the introduction of the AI, right?
Correct.
So their job will lose. And suppose if their age is around 50 or 55 something, right? So now they got lose their jobs and sit idly at the home,
Correct.
right? But everybody wants money. Everybody wants money to fulfill their dreams and their needs,
Correct.
right? It means they have to do something for their livelihood, right? So, if you know that whatever you learn into your age, and now that is replaced by the artificial intelligence, right? Now you are jobless, right? Now what will they do? Now they will think about start something their own. Now they will think about start something their own business or startup. In previous few years, we heard this topic so much regularly. Startup.
Correct.
The student who is into the college, the people who into the job. You must be heard about the girl who is called the Vada Pav girl. She and her husband were into the job, but they got terminated by their companies, and they're starting their own thela. Vada Pav thela, right? And they hold the hand of the digital marketing thing and went there, and their reel went viral, right? And now she becomes a celebrity. She was seen in the Big Boss, right? She was calling by the many corporates for just ribbon cutting and getting the huge money for that ribbon cutting.
Correct.
Right. So the person who left the job by AI after the AI, or who just terminated by the AI, right? Who just replaced by the AI, they have thinking to start something their own. And now, when the person who starts something their own startup, their some own venture, they need to find some good CA in practice who
Correct.
will help them to grow their business, who will help them to advise them for the right path of the success of their venture.
Correct.
And after few years, there will be the next wave of the tsunami of the startups. Because there is a scope becomes so less after the introduction of the AI. Now the person who are just creating the big population of this democratic country, now we are 142 crores, more than 142 crores on this India, in the India. What they have to do? We are starting complain before even before the AI that there are no jobs. But after the AI, it will be the worst situation in the job industry because it will be the replaced by AI. So what will they do? They will definitely going for the startups and business ventures.
Correct.
And for their business venture, they need the CA in practice to guide them to growth their business.
Correct.
So many of my friends who are into the CA practice complaining about like यार आज तो काम नहीं है इस month में बहुत कम काम हुआ. Just hold that CA practice, hold the COP for another few years, and you will see that अपना time आ गया. Right.
Correct.
So that's why AI is boon for us.
Right.
That's why AI is like for the miracle for us, and we just have to hold our seats. We have to just hold our COP for another few years, right? With patience, and we will see, we will witness for the drastic change of the Indian youth by just not seeking for the jobs, but for the start, there's something own startups.
Right.
As a PSU trainer, as a MSME trainer, when I move for the different training seminars for the business legal compliances and the soft skill trainings, I observe that the crowd for the skill development, which is run by the PM Yojana for the skill development, the crowd of the registration students are increasingly rapidly. Right. So people are inclined towards start something their own because they are not able to see so much of the scope after introduction of the AI in their field. So they want to invest their time, money, and energy into their something own startup. That is the reason, sir. That's why after the introduction of AI, when startups will increase, the practice will also increase for the CA practice,
Correct.
right? And okay. Okay. So let me complete benefits for the digital marketing, benefits of the digital marketing. Then we will try to cope it with the CA practice, right? That how a digital marketing can exactly help to the CA in CA practice. Benefits of the digital marketing: you have to target the right audience. You have to target the right audience. See, if I'm the trainer, but if I'm going some audience who are not so educated and they don't have any time for some kind of the training, and but still I am going to show my advertisement over there, so it has no relevance for them. Right. So if I am CA in practice and if my pull notification are going to the person who are not so relevant for the CAs, right? So it will be wasted. Right. So the digital marketing replace that thing, and digital marketing target the right audience. So first benefit of the digital marketing is that they target the right audience. Second thing, it is very cost effective. If you are planning to start something on, if you are planning to start something on startup or some kind of a business, right? So you might be spend the lots of the money over the hoardings and the brochures and the other things for the advertisement, right? And that might be cost you up to 1 lakh initially, or might be the so more, right? But on the digital marketing, the cost is very low for the advertisement. So that is another benefit for go with the digital marketing. Apart from that, it is the high return over the investment. If I am speaking, like one of my client was spending few paisa per ad for their restaurant business over the social media. Few paisa, I guess 20 paisa per ad, per click, per ad, something like that, right? But if there are 1,000 viewers who are just looking for the restaurant business in their area, and if I must say, if one customer will come on the stairs of that restaurant, then whole amount of the expense of the digital marketing will recover from that one client only. That much is the cost effective with the digital marketing. That's why it is high return over the investment. And the fourth one is it scale up the business very fast. Like we see the previous examples, like Mama Earth founder, like Dolly Chaiwala, MBA Chaiwala, in a very short time period, their business scale up very, very fast, very fast. Many of us are from the business family background. Many of us having the parents who are running something their own business, and we saw them from our childhood, right? But still, when we look at them in the evening, they are saying that the sale for the today is not so much at the desired level. Right? But the students, but the people, but the youth who comes into the business industry in past few years just face the very high scale up of the turnover very fast. right? So that is the power of the digital media, right? After that, it is able to reach the large audience. It is able to reach the huge number of the viewers. It is able to reach right. So if you are working in some local area, if you are working on some street, if you are working on some offline market only, right, you might have the very limited scope and you are depending on that locals only, right? But when you comes to the globalization, as the digital media is one of the medium to become a global brand, right? So if you want to be on social media, if you want to be on the digital market, right, you have the possibility to connect with other people also who are just not present at that local area, but also on the other areas beyond the local limits, right? Beyond the local limits. If I'm talking about how I get to know about these things so deeply in the digital marketing, my wife is a gold medalist in digital marketing,
Wow, good.
and she is awarded by Delhi CM, Mr. Kejriwal, for her great services. All right, so that's why I get the deep knowledge from my wife, and I get to know about the actual power of the digital media. And last to last year, one of my friend who was also in the practice of the CA, it was came to me and just told me like, यार अभी मैंने CA practice start की है and I have a very less turnover. So can you help me to increase my turnover and gain the confidence that I choose the right path to not going to the job but into the practice. So I handed over the case to my wife, and in 2 years of the span, when he came to us, he was earning around 10 to 12 LPA, right? And now it becomes the 5 times. 5 times. His turnover was like 60 LPA. So 12 LPA to 60 LPA for the proprietorship CA firm, I guess, is not a bad start. It is a very good thing in 2 years growth, right? So many of the client he get from the many of the websites and the digital marketing on which the new startups promoters and the business owners are looking for the CAs. And he grabbed the opportunity where many of the CAs are not present themselves on the digital media, but he is. Right. So this is the power of the digital media, or through which we can convert our business into the huge firm, into the huge CA firm. Right. Now, the one of the question might be running into your back of the mind that we are CA in practice and promotions and advertisement are not allowed by ICAI to us. Right. So I must highlight one thing, like ICAI doesn't allow the push notification. Like if you are scrolling the reels, if you are scrolling the shorts on the YouTube, so you must see some ads of the other business, right? Who just show their ads to you without your consent, without your searching, right? So CA in practice are not allowed for such kind of the promotion of your CA practice, but there is allowed the pull notification kind of the promotions of the CA in practice. It means if some client are looking for some specific practice or some practice rendered by the CAs, right? So it is allowed by the ICAI. The CA firm can maintain their website or some other kind of the platform who gives the parallelly the same platform to all CAs, right? So as a digital marketing person, I can say, like, if you don't have any kind of the website, but if you want to grow your business, if you want to get the more clients, if you want to get the clients who are beyond your local limits, then you have to opt for the digital marketing, through which you can start first by creating your website. right? So if you don't have website, you can establish your website, right? And after the establishment of your website, we can work on the SEOs and SMOs, that is work behind the web pages, right? And that work on the pulled notification. So if anybody wants to seek some services rendered by CAs, then it might be the high possibility to attract those clients to your firm, to your practice, right? So that is the power of the digital media, for which you can efforts, right? Okay, let me show you one more slide. Okay, on a fast track mode for another 15 minutes, let me share these beautiful things to you, right? What points are so important for improving our communication skill at the last, just for the revision, right? Communication skills have some kind of the pillars, like we can say the 10% of the words, right? And 30% of the tone and tuning, and 60% of the body language, right? So before starting any communication, like on the revision part we are discussing it, right? You must have to supervise your tone, right? In which tone you are communicating your thing, right? On the other hand, you have to see what is the tuning between both of you and your listener, right? And third last thing, what is the body language, right? What is the body language, right? And what is the miscommunication, right? So you have to understand these 4 pillars before starting your communication skills. If we are talking about to improve our communication skill in this manner, first of all, you have to make yourself so confident, right? You don't have to lose the energy. You have to be confident in whatever you are going to say, right? If you are not confident enough whatever you are going to say, then your listener will also not get so much of the confidence in the thing you are communicating, right? Second thing, enthusiasm, right? Again, it should be so energetic and with the bottom of your heart. It should not be lie to your listener, right? So you have to deal with your listener with so high energy. If you are not feeling so energetic, then don't start the communication. Postpone that thing, right? If you are not feel so good, if you are not feeling so comfortable, if you are not feeling so confident, then don't start the communication at that time, right? Third thing, clear the objective. Clear the objective and your aim. The purpose behind the communication must be clear to us, right? The purpose behind the communication must be clear, right? There should not be the vague communication. There should not be the blur communication, right? You should be clear about the purpose behind the communication. After that, self-prepared script. If you are going to make some speech on the stage on some political ground or some any other debate competition, then preparation must be there. You have to be prepared for yourself, right? You have to prepare for your script, right? At least I must say that It should not be word to word script, but it should be the highlights. It should be the gist. It should be the form of the gist, right? So if you are going to speak about any topics, then you must be clear about the topics on which you are going to communicate or going to deliver your speech, right? After that, the subject matter, which we discussed earlier, the subject matter must be clear to the both parties, to the listener and to the speaker. Because if subject matter is not clear, then it may be turned into the blender mistake, right? After that, effective start. For the effective start, it is based on your personal experience and your style, right? Like if I'm talking about myself, I have a different effective way of effective style to start my communication, right? And that is something individual, that is something related to your charisma, that is something related to your aura, right? So whatever you feel in good, right? You have to start with that, right? Last thing, your voice must be so clear. Your voice must be so clear, right? If you are not clearly audible, right, then your participants, your listeners will not hear that and will not feel so good about you, right? After that, speed, right? You have to analysis about the speed of the message you are going to convey, right? If I'm going to very speedily, right, like this, right? So listener might be not interested in listening to you, right? So you have to proper emphasize on the words, each words you are going to say, right? So you have to maintain the level of your speed according to the situation, according to the time. Like if I'm in the communication with some one person or the one guy, then speed might be little more. But if I am communicating with the huge audience and the large audience on the stage, then I have to make emphasis on each and every word, right? Otherwise, somebody will catch it or somebody will not catch it, right? So according to the time, according to the situation, level of the audience and intellectual level of the audience, you have to maintain the speed of your speech, of your communication. After that, logical presentation. The presentation you are going to present among the audience, among the listeners, right, must be logical, right? If it is not logical, if it is not based on the facts, then it might be not so much of the effective among the audience and you will not consider it as a good speaker, right? Next thing, the audience. You have somewhere to judge the audience, speaking level, listening level and intellectual level, right? If you are dealing with some kind of the audience as an IS officer or as a public administration officer, and your audience is linked or is from the background of very poor, right? So you have to maintain your words, you have to maintain your communication according to the situation, according to the audience intellectual level. After that, the local language. As I told you earlier, that local language, you must respect a lot about that, right? If you are so much prepared, if you are so much confident about yourself to speak in the local language to the person to whom you are dealing with, right, then you have to speak in that local language. Otherwise, you don't have to fall yourself into the hustle or into the problematic situation. After that, it is not always necessary to start the communication so effectively, but it is also necessary to end your communication so effectively, right? So you have to maintain the energy and that aura and that charisma over the period of your communication as a whole. Not only in initial stage, right? But you have to close the all chapters with high energy and high level of the confidence, right? So effectively. Next one is time limit. Like in today's session, we have a limited time, so we have to cover our all topics in that time only. According And based on this example, you also have to maintain your script, you have to maintain your speech time according to the time limit, right? We can leave that. That is not relevant to that, right? Okay. Communication can be of the various of the type, as I told you earlier. You can communicate your thoughts to the other one's mind by speaking, right? That is the oral communication. That is the oral communication, right? Further, you can use the writing method for the communicating your message, right? If you think that this is so much of official, then you can choose this method wisely, the writing method, right? Listening is also a part, as I told you earlier, that communication is a two-way side, right? It cannot be the one way, otherwise it will call the dictation, not the communication. So it is two-way side, right? So it is not necessary to speak always, right? To understand the gravity of the situation, to understand the soul of the communication, you also have to listen, right? Listen to the audience, listen to their thoughts, so that you can refine your communication, redefine your communication, and deliver your communication, right? Reading is also communication. Like if I am going to read someone or some author's book, some author's biography, it is also kind of the communication. Whatever the context, whatever the text, whatever the content is written in that book is also a medium of the communication which author wants to communicate to the world. Right? So book writing and reading is also a part of the communication. See, what is the purpose? What is the purpose behind this webinar? The purpose behind this webinar is only to improve ourselves as a great communicator. And this communication skill will improve our public image, will improve our team building habits, and will improve our relationship, whether with the team, whether with the client, or whether in the personal relationship. Right? So a good communicator can create some good relationship with everyone, everywhere. So that is the purpose behind this session, right? And the last one is non-verbal communication. World's most knowing language is sign language. If you are found yourself into the situation when your language is not understandable by someone, you are not understand the other one's language, then at that moment you can use the sign language. Sign language is something which is naturally in habit of the everyone, right? So sign language might be like if you are thirsty and if you want some glass of the water, and if you are showing someone that I want something like that, so you must be understood very correctly at that point of time, right? So sign language also can be used to communicate your intentions, to communicate your thoughts.
Correct.
Right? Okay. And the last slide we are going to discuss here now, the daily speaking for the effective speaking, right? Remember the person to whom you are talking, right? If you are not able to connect the guy, if you are not able to remember that guy, then don't start the communication without introduction, without introduce yourself, right? Second one, don't put the hands in your pocket while talking to the senior in a non-casual manner. So that is kind of the habit, like you should ignore these things, right? So don't put your hands in the pocket.
Correct.
After that, don't chew anything when you talk, right? So if you are eating something or chewing something, then do that first, then start the talking or start the communication. After that, avoid playing with any object. If you are into the communication, but you are playing some people have habits to just play with the pen, pencil, rubber, something like that, or the phones, right? So don't do that. Avoid these objects while into the communication. Otherwise, the listener or the person who are communicating with you might be lose the interest in yourself, right? After that, look at the person, not away from him. The person to whom you are talking with, you have to look at them, right? You have to make a proper eye contact with them. After that, do take off your sunglasses, right? If it is possible, then don't cover up your eyes with the black sunglasses and all, right? Don't wear the black sunglasses while into the communication. So try to avoid that, right? And be a rational guy, be a normal person as you can. Don't be so emotional, don't be so aggressive, right? So these are all things. With all these things, I would like to sum up the session for the today's webinar. Now I would like to hand over the mic to the admin sir.
थैंक यू सो मच मोहित जी.
Thank you so
आपने
much, sir.
कम्युनिकेशन पे बहुत ही शानदार और सरल शब्दों में हमको जो समझाया, बहुत ही अच्छा, और डिजिटल मार्केटिंग के बारे में जो बताया आपने, वो वाकई माइंड ब्लोइंग है कि कैसे एक प्रैक्टिसिंग चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट अपने फिनेंशियल्स को बढ़ा सकता है, अपने टर्नओवर को बढ़ा सकता है. एआई के बारे में जो आपने बनाया वो भी एक्सीलेंट था, और इस बारे में हम आपसे और बाद में और बात करेंगे. टुडे इज टाइम फॉर दिस वेबिनार. आई वुड लाइक टू वोट ऑफ थैंक्स. It has been such an honor to be a part of this wonderful webcast on communication gains power through refined skill for CAs, organized by PACC Committee ICI. On behalf of the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee ICI, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our speaker, CA Mohit Gupta sir, for his enlightening session. Sincere thanks to the event enablers from the Rajsamand branch of CIRC of ICI, who enabled the webcast throughout. A wide round of the applause and thanks to the organizer, Professional Skill Enrichment Committee ICI. Our today's speaker CA Mohit Gupta sir and other stakeholders made the webcast a memorable one. Finally, we would like to thank all of you present here and helping us make this webcast a grand success. मैं अनुज जी सर का और हमारे श्री प्रिया मैडम का और संदीप सर का भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद अर्पित करूंगा. उन्होंने इतनी इंपॉर्टेंट और अच्छी वेबकास्ट रखी जो प्रैक्टिसिंग सीए के लिए बहुत ही फायदेमंद है. थैंक यू सो मच मोहित जी, एंड नाउ थैंक यू वन एंड ऑल. थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
यस सर. ओके. यस सर. भार्गव जी, भार्गव जी. हाँ भार्गव जी, खत्म करें. ओके, थैंक यू सो मच.